so excited to introduce my very first guest, hailing all the way from South Florida, now a New York native. Veya is an incredible artist, visionary, and literal angel. She's an up-and-coming synth-pop icon, and most recently with her release of In Between and a music video fresh off the Alien presses for her very first single, My Love, my friend, my first guest, my colleague, and angel, Miss Veya.
Hello. Thank you. That was like a beautiful intro.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy. So welcome. If you want to talk about just a quick snippet of who you are, and let's hear it.
Okay. Well, I am Veya, as you just said. And yeah, I guess I'm just getting into the music scene and yeah, it's just been something that I've kind of been working on for a while, and it wasn't until I think June of 2019 that I finally released something. But before that, I was just kind of making little demos by myself and posting them on SoundCloud. And I actually went back the other day and listened to some of them, and oh my God, I can't believe I haven't taken them down yet because those are so bad. But yeah, so basically I've been working on this for a while, and yeah, I'm just kind of learning as I go, and I've got some more projects coming up, so yeah.
I love to hear that.
Yeah.
So if you want to talk about your music video for your song My Love, it was really cool. It matched the song and it just felt right. And when I saw it and you first posted it, I was like, "Oh cool, Veya did a thing." And then I watched it, I was like, "She did a thing."
Yeah, oh my God. Okay, so that started because after I released My Love back in 2019, I cannot believe how long ago that was. I was contacted by a friend that actually he was in the same program as us at UCF. And he was like, "Hey, we should do a little visual for your song." And that was back in 2019, and we're trying to plan it, and then it never lined up. And so we reconnected this past September, I think. And we sat down and got coffee, and he was like, "Hey, we should still do that thing that we talked about forever ago." So we planned it. Basically it was him and his company, they were nice enough to do it for free. Basically, the only requirement was that, I booked the space. And
Yeah.
they found the venue, which was like this really cool place that had multiple rooms, so you could do different themes. And that was I think it was a 4 or 5 hour shoot or something. And yeah, I'm super grateful to them. Shout out to Respective Collective. They did that. Very good
Respect the
job.
respective
We have
collective.
Respective Collective.
So
Um,
I know Veya and I went to college together. That's how we know each other. I mean, I guess we didn't
yeah.
really know each other in college. It was more of
Yeah.
the conglomerate of people we we hung
hmm
out with. But you worked for a production company and you now work for a media company. Was that weird for you to be like, "Well, just kidding. I'm not going to do anything but be in front of the camera"? Because I know if that were me, I would be like, "This is there's a little too much light on me right now. I can't."
Yeah, actually, it's funny you say that because at first, before the shoot, I was super nervous because I mean like you said, I'm used to being behind the camera, but once it started going, I'm not gonna lie, I was thriving. I was I can get used to this.
As
I
you
like
should.
having the attention on me. But it was also interesting because they gave me the option, you could either, literally lip sync to your own song, or you can sing along with it. And I decided I wanted to sing along with it. rather than just lip sync. And I was like feeling myself that day. I really was.
Well, it looked incredible. I was like, it felt so flawless and like effortless, and I was
Oh,
like, that's where you belong.
oh, thank you.
I,
I felt like comfortable in that space once it was happening. And it was really weird to like have everyone moving around me and like setting things up. And I was just like so inclined to be like, hey, do you need help? Like, I can do this for you. Like, at the end of the shoot, I was literally asking if I could help, like, clean up and pack up for them. And they're just like, no, no, you're good. Like, you don't need to. And I'm like, this is weird, but also kind of nice because I know the stress that goes into setting everything up. Like, I
Mhm.
could see them trying to switch between different like scenes, and I was like, I kind of don't miss that.
You're like, I can grab the C stand. Let me fix the legs. Like, I got you. Sandbags,
Yeah,
I got you. No, I. That's
yeah.
so funny. Um. Okay, so I just think that the whole video was so cool, and like I think that's one of the very few times I've seen like one of my like personal friends like be in something like in such production value, and like I'm not saying like our school projects are, but like
Well,
it like on such a scale that like I could send that to MTV and they wouldn't think twice about it, and like be like this girl's real, because like the talent and just everything just felt like right and complete and so well done, and I was so impressed.
thank you, thank you. Yeah, like the whole team was amazing, and I mean, they already had everything planned out. Like I gave them like a couple like ideas of what I wanted. Like
Hmm.
obviously I wanted like shiny things and sparkles and pink. I like that. But yeah, they were like they came to set like super prepared and everything. And it was like it really was like a relief just because I'm so used to the chaos of college and what we used to do like in our productions and everything.
So going back to, you said you were not telling anybody, or maybe I read this on your, very detailed Spotify page that helped me out so much with this. So you didn't tell anybody that you were releasing on SoundCloud, right? Like why, can I ask like why you didn't say why?
Because I was embarrassed. Oh, there they are. There's the motorcycle. I don't know if you heard that.
I did.
Yeah, we
Adds
love that.
character.
Yeah. But yeah, I didn't tell anyone. I think it was just because like I knew these were very poorly produced. I mean, I'm not saying that my stuff is like amazing now, but back then it was like even worse. Like I think one of the things I posted was actually like a composition project I had for one of my music classes. So it was just like I guess I didn't want to like make these big announcements for things that I wasn't necessarily proud of yet. And I'm honestly kind of glad in hindsight that I didn't, because, like I said, listening back to them, I'm like, oof, oof. I mean, even with My Love, I hear like there's such a difference between that one and In Between, and you can hear the difference in like production value.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I think it was just kind of me being shy and not wanting people to see like my really rough demos.
That's a fair, especially like in high school, right? So it's like the peak of where people are like, "Oh, you wore the wrong color pants today,"
Well,
and like,
actually, actually, that was like my freshman year, I think, of college. So very close to
oh
high
my
school.
goodness,
Yeah.
fresh out of
Um,
high school, yeah.
yeah. That's when I like first started getting into it because that's when I like started messing around with Garage Band was freshman year of college.
Hmm.
And my friend like torrented Logic Pro and gave it to me. So that's when I got into like working with more sounds, was when I went from GarageBand to its older sister Logic. I wish I had started in high school because maybe I'd be a little further along with my ability, honestly. Um,
Oh my goodness.
you know the
That
feel.
I know you know the vibes. If
Yeah.
you could only see half of my like middle school and high school like video projects, they're ridiculous. They're absolutely ridiculous. So
I wish I
that-
could, honestly.
one day they'll come out.
Man, I'm
Um,
gonna have to search.
honestly, it's probably not that hard to find. Maybe that's
Okay, I'm
why
gonna be
people don't want to
looking.
hire me. So in regards to the sound, so specifically like in the last like 2 or 3 years or so would be my guess is there's been a huge resurgence in synth pop
Hmm.
and more popularity. I mean, like Walk the Moon is a really big one that you hear on the radio that is like primarily synth pop and more so on the pop side, Dua Lipa too. You hear it
Yeah.
now in almost any song you hear on like top 40. Has that encouraged you more so to do music or I guess, is that a push for you to be like, oh, like this stuff is actually like, at the forefront now. It's not just like a subgenre that some people listen to.
Yeah, yeah, like it definitely like churches was a big influence for me. In high school I used to listen to them all the time
Hmm.
and um just I loved that they're like expansive synth sounds. Like they're very like full and energetic. Like they have like to me they have like the perfect synth pop sound.
Hmm.
Like they've perfectly like mastered taking elements from like the 80s and making it modern. So like hearing their music definitely influenced the sound. And I also was really into lights in middle school. And I
Yeah.
still like love her. I still am like such a big Lights fan. I will praise anything she does. But yeah, she was like I guess she was like my first introduction to like synth pop because she was like doing like this kind of bedroom pop, like very like it sounded very innocent like back then. Um and yeah, so that like that's just carried with me. And it's funny that we're talking about sound now, like synth pop sounds, because I've actually been like experimenting with different sounds recently. I still
Ooh.
I still am including synths, but it's definitely different from my love, like from where I
Mm.
started. Even in between, like it like my new stuff does not really sound the same as that. It like trying to emulate 80s sounds is like a big task and trying to do it like churches. I mean, I know they use like actual synthesizers, like they've
Hmm.
got like synths on synths in their studio, whereas I have zero synthesizers. And so I'm working with just like software synthesizers. Like if I could compare it to any of my songs that I have released, I would say like Breathe In, that
Hmm.
one, the stuff that I'm working on now is closer to that. So it's not as like outwardly 80s. So yeah, maybe I should change my description on Spotify because I'm still trying to figure out what genre I am fitting into, you know?
No, that's great though because I feel like so many artists in general just never know where they are and
Yeah.
not in a bad way. It's like, okay, well, I've listened to All Time Low, for example, for years, way too long, like way too long. And each album sounds different. And same with like I am a really big fan of The Main and like they have
Hmm.
grown with me in the way that I've never expected is like in my core pop punk emo stuff, like they sounded like that, like emo, like cringy, like
Yeah.
that type of stuff. And then I grew and they grew with me, and obviously they didn't pick me as a person. We're like, you're gonna grow up with us. But their
Yeah.
sound is like it's all in the same genre, but it's like evolutionized in such a way and so many different pieces and more rock and roll here or more poppy here and like I think it's such a beautiful thing and so many people have the opportunity to do that and the freedom and I think that's so natural and I love to hear that and it makes me so
Yeah.
excited to hear more.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I mean, I actually am working with another producer on one of my newer songs. Yeah, because I've always been like wanting to collaborate with people, but
Hmm.
the control freak in me is like I don't want to give anything up. So I
Hmm.
like I kind of had to push myself to like reach out to someone
Mhm.
to help out. Also just because like I know my abilities, and I know at this point in my like production abilities, I'd rather like pass it off to someone who can make it sound a little more finished, because
Mhm.
even with In Between, I like I literally did all of that production and I passed it off to someone to mix and master. But it's just like listening back to it, I'm like, oh, well, I would have done that differently now.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, I'm just trying to find ways to avoid my feelings of like, I wish I had done that differently. And by working with other producers who are like, you know, a little more experienced, I feel like
Mhm.
I can move away from my my like embarrassment of my bad production. Yeah.
That's fair. Do you think that so you moved to New York, and I don't know specifically in what, like, if you moved right after you graduated or how that time frame worked, but do you think moving to New York and also COVID has kind of changed the way you've wanted to do this? You know, obviously like you have a day job and like we
Yeah.
mentioned it earlier, but like is has it changed kind of like your meaning behind it, or, you know, the way you produce or anything like that?
So it's honestly, it's interesting because when I moved up to New York, it was last February,
Mhm.
and at that point I hadn't written a new song in like months. And I think I was just going through like a mental like dry spell.
Mhm.
And then I'm trying to think of like the timeline. Basically, I like went through like a long creative dry spell last year, and like I think COVID had a lot to do with that. It's just being stuck in the same place and like
Mhm.
working long hours and just like not really having any creative inspiration.
Mhm.
Like I hate to say it like that because I know other creative people who are able to just like force themselves to like write something. But like for me, I've always been the type of person to like need inspiration of some sort. So like with the pandemic, it was really hard. But yeah, just like this past fall, just like reconnecting with friends, that actually just like gave me kind of that like creative flow again.
Yeah.
Um, and so like I'm like writing like three or four new songs, and like it doesn't seem like a lot to like very experienced artists, but like to me that's a big deal because I used to only write like one song at a time. So like so yeah, it's definitely changed. Just the pandemic really like put me through that creative dry spell.
No, that's fair, but like I'm glad that it's worked out for you and you moved in. You I'm trying I like my brain is conjumbled because like the last year is irrelevant, and like I cannot,
Hmm.
you know, the last year in time and space doesn't exist to me. Like it's still March 2020 in my head.
Yeah,
But you moved in somewhere else with your current
with
roommate
family.
who's also a big creative person, right?
Okay, so I moved to New York and I moved in with my family, and they
Mhm.
live like an hour outside of the city. And so I spent like my entire summer with them and basically like secluded up like in, I wouldn't say upstate New York, I
Mhm.
wouldn't call it that, but like middle state New York.
Okay.
And and so I mean maybe that had something to do with my creative dry spell, is just like being so far from everything.
Mhm.
But then in July, I moved in with some friends that I had met at UCF when I was still like in the Orlando area. Um, yeah, so and here we are in our apartment in Williamsburg.
It's the last year has been crazy, and like, you know, though I say like time is irrelevant, and you know the last year it's still March 2020 in my head. Like I don't know how you feel about it, but like personally I feel like I've had the most self-growth in this time, and I don't know if it's
Mm,
because of the isolation. Like I've definitely hit rock bottom multiple times throughout it, but like
hmm
like for me, I felt like this has been such like a good thing for me, and I'm not, I'm very privileged to say that in the way that my family's been safe and healthy, but
Hmm.
I feel like my like looking from it from my lens and being able to see my personal growth from the start of it, like I went straight from graduating and being with all of these people, all of these great people we know, and
Yeah.
moving home and like having that adult change and then starting work, and then it was like, surprise, we're just gonna stop everything. So like my whole
Yeah.
brain had to like re-coordinate. So it's so interesting to talk about how people like relate back to it and reflect on how it really has impacted them emotionally, creatively, all of these things, because it's been such a big pivotal moment in all of our lives.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I only like really touched on the creative part, but like everything else is just like, oh my gosh. It's been like taxing for real.
Yeah.
I did not realize how much of like a social person I am until this pandemic. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I cannot believe I don't get to hang out with people as often as I want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, coming from like such a big friend group back home is like it's like going to like nothing. Like what?
It's like
Um,
empty nesting our friends.
mhm.
It's
Yeah.
so bizarre.
Yeah, it's been hard. Like it definitely has not been an easy thing. Um, but yeah.
So now that we've talked about, the saddest year of our lives and, the most emotional year of our lives, what are you listening to right now? Like what music what's the first thing you put
Ooh.
on when you woke up this morning at least?
Oh my God. Oh. Man, okay. I'm trying to think because like I've been really vibing to like I don't know how I'm finding these songs. I think on my Discover Weekly, but gosh, I don't remember the name of it. I'm like blanking now that you asked me.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, okay. I mean, I think one of them was Can I Call You Tonight by Dayglow.
Uh,
I honestly, you like that one?
I'm obsessed with Dayglow right now, so you just like hit me in the head.
Okay, yeah. I kind of recently discovered them. Like one of my friends suggested that I check them out, and I finally decided to check them out. And that song
Mhm.
has just been stuck in my head. Like it's insane.
I've been very much into synth pop and like all of this realm of alt pop that
Hmm.
I never hated it, but it was just like I was so involved in the pop punk world that I was like, no, only angry screaming 26-year-old men in my ear, like that's all I want. And once I've like discovered this whole realm of stuff, I can't stop. And like I love the 80s sound so much where it like comes like do you listen to Pale Waves? I'm sure Pale maybe.
No, I
No?
don't.
Okay, so you need to listen to Pale Waves because that's
Okay.
like Maddie Healy from the 1975 does a lot of their producing. So
Oh,
same with
it's
No
gotta be
Rome.
good.
It's so good. Specifically the song Television Romance. Um
Okay,
but
I've got to
it's
check it out.
a lot of people write about very similar things in their, careers. Do you have a constant theme that you think about when you write, or is it just like whatever's happening? Do you relate back, or is it all constant, or how does that brain bowl work when you're writing music?
Usually it's like whatever I'm going through at that moment.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, like the other night, I was honestly thinking, like, man, I'm having a tough time going through this thing right now, and I don't know how else to cope. I should probably write about it. So that's basically like how it is. It's just like if something is really making me feel like so intensely,
Hmm.
like the most satisfying way to get through that feeling is to like write about it because like
Hmm.
I feel like then I can get my exact words that I want to say out in that moment. And it's always like to someone or like about someone and sometimes even like about myself. So
Hmm.
it's just like so cathartic, like really cathartic. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. I wish that I had that, ability to write, but I physically can't. I can't even
No,
spell
I bet you
restaurant.
could,
I
honestly.
can't even spell restaurant.
I believe in
Uh,
you.
thank you, thank you. I'm gonna write a great song after this,
Do it.
about how much you inspired me, and not
Ooh,
singing
oh my
because I
God.
can't sing.
Oh, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I think
Shut
you can
up.
sing.
I was in middle school chorus, and guess what? I didn't do well, and they put me in the back.
What? No, it's because you had too good of a voice.
Too
They
good of
didn't
a
want
voice.
anyone to be jealous of you.
They put me in the not even on the rider. They were like, not even on the risers. Put her under, so just keep her under there. Just,
Oh my God, no.
just kidding.
Oh, little Allie. No, that's
Um,
so sad.
I'm just kidding. It
Okay,
wasn't
good,
that
good.
dramatic.
Okay,
uh,
good.
so going back to your influences and stuff like that, Coldplay and Imogen Heap, um,
Mm-hmm.
Chris Martin. That is all.
Yeah, exactly. That's all you need to say.
How do you feel about the continuation of older artists and coming up in a new age? So, like, Coldplay released an album, I want to say a year and a half, 2 years ago. Again, time is irrelevant in my head.
Yeah.
Um, do you think that, they have so many good albums. I don't know much about Imogen Heap, but
Hmm.
Coldplay specifically, they have so many good albums. Like, do you think they should ever stop? Do you think that they should continue? Like, what do you think about older artists, kind of continuing with such a high bar that they've created
Oh
themselves?
man, that's like really hard because I always want to hear new music. Um, and like I know Imogen has been like, she's been putting out little like singles and things like that, and it's kind of like making me hungry for more. So I would
Mm-hmm.
say like I'm cool with that. I want them to keep making music if that's what they want to do, like if they're down for that, like that's pretty cool. Although I will say I love Coldplay, but some of their more recent, like I wasn't like a huge fan of Adventure of a Lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't like my favorite album of theirs, but like I mean, basically every other one of their albums is like amazing to me. So like yeah, I'm like excited to see what else they do, you know?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm on the same page. It's like, if you're gonna keep doing, I'm gonna keep listening. I mean, it may
Yeah.
suck, but like, I mean, not that's
Yeah.
not at Coldplay. I do not think Coldplay sucks.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Coldplay, but it's for me it's interesting because I think about like older bands in the 70s and 80s, and like obviously the Stones aren't, pushing out new bangers with Mick Jagger.
Yeah.
But Coldplay specifically, and it's funny you mentioned that album. It is that it feels like they are growing with the times as best as they can,
Hmm.
and with the song that they put out with Beyonce, that I'm not going to remember the name because I can't remember anything.
Him for the Weekend, I think.
Him for the Weekend, yes.
Yeah.
It's just it it's the concept of, they ate off that, like, bit of EDM, and we're like,
Hmm.
mm.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know
they like put their toes in the water, like dip their
yeah, they
toes
were
in the
like,
water.
oh, we'll give you Coldplay, but like we're gonna serve a little bit of like
Yeah.
EDM into it, and I
Yeah.
think that's great.
Yeah, yeah, no, like it is I actually I really like that song, Him for the Weekend. Like I really like a handful of songs off that album.
Yeah.
But that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I think that's the only one I saved from that album when I listened to it like the
Yeah.
first time.
Yeah, same. But yeah, but I mean, like, they have this like plethora of like other amazing music that it's just like
Hmm.
I literally have a playlist that's just Coldplay where I just like listen to it like down the whole like all of the albums just because it's such like comfort for me too, you
Hmm.
know? Like because they've been making music for so long, it is kind of like we've grown up with them. Like
Yeah.
like you
I
said, like
It's beautiful. I hate that. I mean, I don't hate it, but the concept that, for me, I have identified as like a music fan for so long, and like if you look back for me specifically, like elementary school, I was into Fall Out Boy in third grade. Who does that? Who's 7 and listens to, I don't know how old I was in third grade because time. But like, who does that? And like, I've grown up with music, and it like is my personality trait. And it's just really funny because like, I think it's fascinating to identify artists and albums as I like at an age. Like when I think of when I was 16, I think of Pierce the Veil. Like that
Mm.
like there's
Yeah.
just those like identifying features. But
Yeah.
what is your favorite song of all time? Like there's so many options, but I'm going to make you choose one.
Oh, my favorite song of all time from Coldplay or like
In
a
general,
diff
like pick
in
pick your poison,
general.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. My
I can start
favorite
if that's
song.
helpful.
Yes, please.
September by Earth, Wind and Fire.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
All
no,
time.
that's a great one. Oh my gosh. Now I'm like, well, now we gotta think about like,
I know, it's a hefty one. We can come back to it if you
oh,
want.
oh gosh. Yeah, I might have to come back to it because like that is that's tough. That's really tough.
It's it's hard, but I'm just saying September I will always lobby for the best song of all time, and
Yeah, no, that
nobody
is
will
it.
agree with me, but
No, that is a great song. I'm just like thinking because now you got me thinking like I was just thinking of things that I've listened to recently, but now there's like all of these songs by artists that, like older artists, like, oh man. Like really.
it is an objective question and there's no right answer.
Yeah, I know. Oh, my indecisiveness is coming out.
Oh, do not tell me about indecisiveness. We are the same person.
Oh my God, it's just like
Um,
stressful.
I will say, and I meant to bring this up earlier, is that we were talking about 80s music and
Hmm.
me if I were an 80s, blah 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 blah. The
Mm-hmm.
first time I heard My Love, which I think it was a while ago because somebody was like, "Oh, Vega does music." And I was like, "Vega does not do music." And they were like, "Vega does music." And I was like, "No way." And it was this I'm sure it was Joe. Um
Yeah.
and I listened to My Love and immediately the movie I put that song into was Perks of Being a Wallflower.
No way. Oh my
And
God, that's such an honor.
I like that. I immediately thought of the tunnel scene. Like I'm not even kidding.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh
I
my God.
so
Oh,
the
that is such an honor.
it's a good movie. It's a great book.
With
It's
Ezra Miller?
like that's immediately where my brain went.
That
So
is
if you're,
seriously the best compliment.
I'm gonna put that in a frame for you.
Oh my God, please.
I'll just like make a fake soundtrack and just it's My Love on repeat.
You should like make a YouTube video, like a fan video. You know how people do that?
Oh my
Like
god. Honestly,
use
don't
like
tempt me. I will.
iMovie.
I will. Using iMovie, yeah. We'll
Yeah,
just do a picture slideshow. Yay!
please.
Like I always think about songs that would be in the soundtrack of my life because I'm conceited and like that's what I think about when I listen to music sometimes. But like if I were in it, like the very specific things, if I were in an 80s movie, if I was going through heartbreak, this would be the song I want to play.
I love
Um,
that though.
so do you want to play a game? And I don't mean that in a creepy
Oh,
Saw way. Do you want to play a game?
sure, sure. Oh my
It
God,
it's
I'm scared.
it's gonna mess with your indecisiveness, so I'm gonna apologize in advance.
Oh God,
Um,
okay.
so my friend got this card game, and you pick a card, and it's a very specific situation, and the first song you think of, I want to hear it.
Oh, okay.
The
Okay, I
first
can do
one,
this.
no, it doesn't have to be even relevant, but like whatever snap, and I will, it might be Coldplay because we were just talking about Coldplay or Imogen Heap, but
Okay, yeah, probably will be.
so the very first one. This is specific to our Orlando friends. Song to play while you're driving down I-4 at 3 a.m. coming home from a shoot.
Ooh, I actually have a good one. Honest Affection by Kai Kai. I think about this because like I remember it's kind of like similar, I guess. I was driving home from Halloween Horror Nights and it was like 3 in the morning and I was listening to that and it just felt like so right because there are like these great synths in that song and really it's got a nice melody. Yeah.
That's a good one. I've never heard it.
Okay.
But I'm going to when I reread I'm gonna make a playlist that goes along with this podcast that has
Oh
all the
my God,
songs we talk
really?
about. Yeah, so
That's
you want to
amazing.
drop snippets wherever, I'm going to have to find them anyway.
Okay, awesome.
No, but that driving at midnight, driving anywhere, like to the airport at 5 a.m., like those trigger so many
Hmm.
memories. The song
Yeah.
I pre-thought of because I knew I wouldn't be able to think of one now because we've talked about this and
Yeah.
I'd forget. I picked Midnight City by M83.
That's a perfect
So,
one.
it,
Absolutely. Anything M83, honestly, that whole album,
it
yeah.
insanity. Insanity. Are
Yeah.
you ready for another one?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Song to play when you're sitting alone in darkness, but you're happy as a clam.
Ooh, okay. Happy as a clam, sitting alone. I'm gonna say Sophia by Clairo.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one.
That was the first thing that came to mind.
That's a good one. I picked Shake It Out by Florence and the Machine.
Oh, that one is timeless.
I think the
That's a good
eeriness
one.
and the
Yeah.
shaken part.
Yeah, I also really like the message in that song. It's very like, I don't know, it's relatable, it's inspiring.
Anything that Florence and I say that I'm a big Florence and the Machine fan, but I'm truly a fake fan. I listen similarly to how I listen to the Lumineers, is that they are an
Hmm.
emotion.
Right,
Like I
okay.
listen to them when I'm in a state, and not a bad one, typically a good one. But it's
Yeah.
like I could tell you like I'd sing along to a whole album, but I don't know any of the songs. Like that's just where I'm at. Is that I'll listen to it, but I just don't like actively listen to it
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah. No, that's pretty, I feel like that's okay. I feel like, having different bands or artists for different emotions, that's cool.
So I've one more.
Okay.
And it's a song to play when you're in the car with a person you just went on a date with and it went terribly.
Oh. Oh my God. Oh my God. Visions of Gideon by Sufjan Stevens.
Oh my goodness, I need to look this one up as well. What is the tone? What are we serving passive aggressive? Are we serving angry?
Oh
What do
no,
we
this is sad. This is very sad. It's the song that played at the end of Call Me by Your Name. Um,
I've never
so
seen
it's like depressing.
it. Okay. So I'm imagining you have the aux and the person's driving and you're just like I'm just gonna sit in the quiet and
Yeah, we're gonna be
sap.
like, yeah, we're gonna be sad, and maybe a tear will roll down my cheek. And I'll be looking just like Timothy Chalamet at the end of that movie, and
I
I'll
need to
just be
watch that
sad.
movie now.
You need to. It's
I
so
know, I'm
good.
upset with
It's
myself.
beautiful.
Is he sad at that point? Is he crying?
Yes, he
Okay.
is. So that's
Okay.
why I think it's fitting. It's like it went bad. I can't think of any of that, like, I can't think of any off the top of my mind that would be like passive aggressive. But so I'm going with like sad. Sad
So when
song.
my brain read this, I'm like, if I have the aux, this guy took me on a date, like I'm gonna play something passive aggressive that like I
What?
know is an at, but he doesn't because he's probably dumb if the date went terribly.
Oh my God.
So I picked "Are You Bored Yet" by Wallows.
Oh.
So it's like a nice
Oh.
like, what's wrong? What's wrong, huh?
Yeah.
We know,
Yeah,
like
that's a
you're
really
bored.
good
Like what's
one.
up?
Oh my God. I actually like literally just recently discovered that song, and I'm so upset that
Really?
I didn't know it before. Yeah, it's so good. So
So you know
catchy.
who the lead singer is, right? Of that band?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know his name, but
I
I
don't know his
know
name either.
like
Dylan.
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 Dylan. Dylan. Oh goodness.
Starts with an M,
Yeah.
is it?
It's not minute. It's something with a
Is it? I thought
minute.
it was.
Is it minute?
Minette?
Minette. It's spelled like that, like that pronunciation, but
Yeah.
somehow yes, that's his
I
name.
like
He
how
was on
we're
13
both
Reasons
like,
Why.
yeah. I'm sorry to Dylan, wherever you are. We
If
don't
you're
remember your
watching
name.
this,
Yeah, we know you'll be watching, so.
um, I love Wallows, and again, it's like another band that I listen to as an emotion.
Hmm.
And I'm a fan, and I think it's incredible that, so looking at him, who, you know, in this very popular show, and he's also been acting since he was a kid. I saw him on Law and Order on a random episode. Um, and like I don't know how much you know, but the guy from Stranger Things, Steve, he is also a
Yes.
musician. And
Oh
his
yeah.
it's like called Dejo. I don't know. It's DJ-O.
Did
I
you?
don't know how to pronounce it. Dejo. So I'm just gonna
Okay.
say and I think it's incredible that a lot of actors have this, you know, specifically in this like alt rock,
Yeah.
world, because it's not a
Yeah.
popular world. Like, I mean, you know, relatively.
Yeah, no, I
Um,
like seeing that because I think I actually like watched some interview or like some game Wallows was doing with the Slow Hollows, kind of similar names, but I
yeah,
like watched like a YouTube video of some game they were doing, and it was just kind of cool seeing that like this actor that we know, Dylan, is not like trying to be the star of the show. Like, it just is nice seeing them like follow their other passions, seeing these actors like do what they like.
exactly. Especially because they all started like, I mean, from my understanding and like my assumption is really young, and like
Yeah,
they didn't know what they were doing at 7 when they were walking onto a set. It was like, all right,
yeah,
you know, you want to act, you're gonna act.
yeah, exactly.
So now it's like this whole world of like discovering yourself, but like in a different medium. And I think like for anybody, that's therapy almost, is like
Yeah.
you can reinvent yourself whenever. And like, you know, if Veya wants to start a rap career, you know, in 6 months, that's allowed, and like that's encouraged, and like let's
That's
do
encouraged.
it.
Okay, so it sounds like Allie wants me to be a rap artist.
um, I'm just saying. So you know, we've talked about a lot of things, and
We
I still
have.
don't have the answer to your favorite song of all time, and that's okay. It's a big question, and I don't want to rush
Okay.
that. And you could text it to me in 3 days if you wanted to. You know, it doesn't have to be Amazon Primed to my head.
Okay.
It can be, you know, United States Post Office. You know, it's okay. It can take its
I
time.
think
It's well deserved.
I think I can give you an answer,
Okay.
but I'm gonna feel bad because it is one of the artists that we just talked about that are like, my influences.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's okay.
um so I'm a little bit torn, but I know that every time I listen to this song, I feel like a comfort blanket come over
I'm
me.
so excited for this.
It's not gonna be like a big one. So Headlock by Imogen Heap. I
Okay.
feel like that is such a good song. I just feel like all the layers are so nicely placed. The lyrics are nice. There's this part in one of the choruses that you can hear like kind of like a counter melody that she's
Mm-hmm.
doing, and you're kind of like, what is she saying? Like, you're trying to figure out what like the lyrics are. I've
Mm-hmm.
always wanted to do something like that. Have not yet accomplished it, but it's
Yet.
it's been like super cool. I love that song so much.
Oh, that's so awesome. I love that question, and I think I ask, you know, I'm not gonna like put myself out there, but ask that on a lot of dating apps, because it's like it's such a interesting question. Everyone has like different answers. Some people say,
Yeah.
you know, Sweet Caroline, and you know, and then like, so, do you have a favorite song right now? It's like it's gonna be a completely different vibe.
Ooh.
I'm gonna assume, you know.
Yeah. Honestly, must be one that I just recently discovered. Oh. I think, see, this is me like getting too in my head about it. Um, I have been really vibing to a song that I posted on my story not too long ago. I think like yesterday, Hold On by Floor. Um,
Wait, oh God, no! I was thinking about their song "Where Did You Go," but I listened
wait,
to that on my way home today.
but actually, you're gonna be very pleased with this. Guess where I discovered that song?
Where?
One of your playlists.
Oh, no way!
Yeah, for real. I think it may have been the Rex. I think that playlist.
That's the playlist I was listening to on my drive home.
That's, oh my God.
That
What
is
are the
so funny.
chances?
That
Yeah.
that
So
that warms
that,
my heart.
yeah, I know that makes me, I can't believe like I didn't even like put that together. Like I'm talking to you and I've literally been listening to that so much because it makes me feel like confident. It's like,
Yes.
it's very like, and just like the melody is so catchy and
Hmm.
I feel like the structure is nice. It's very good. It's a very good one.
I'm so like I don't think you understand how happy that movie that you just said you found that on my
Oh.
playlist. Because I feel like nobody actually listens to them. People just like them. I'm like, all right, it's fine.
No, I'm
Um,
trying to discover new music and that was like that that one slaps. That one slaps.
I
So.
could cry. I could cry. That I'm so glad. Ah. Wow. So I want to end it with kind of a, four two questions, and then I will,
Okay.
release you to the world like a like a nice little big butterfly.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
and the first one is more of a, looking at the world as like an artist and like, what is your goal for your music in regards to shaping the world? Is it, more of an introspective thing, or would you call, this project a lifetime thing? Like, what does that look for you as like, when you look at the world and you look at your music that you do, what is the almost impact, but yeah, like what is your purpose behind it, and what type of impact do you want it to have?
Um, so I mean, it's been starting kind of as like a personal release to me,
Hmm.
but I also am like realizing I want to be able to write things that like people can listen to and be like, "Oh my God, this is exactly how I'm feeling. She said it this exact same way, like that I would say it."
Hmm.
Like I want it to like be relatable to people and I want them to like enjoy singing along to it. I just wanted to like make people happy, I guess. Or sad if that's the tone. Um I don't I guess I don't want it to make people sad. I guess I want it to be like fitting. I want there to be like different songs for different moods. Like,
Hmm.
you said that you have different artists that you listen to, but I want to be able to like I want people to feel like they can relate to it and like go to it if they're going through a tough time. Like they could listen to like My Love or whatever and like that can help.
No, that's awesome. And
It sounds
that
so like sunshine and rainbows, but like
no, no.
genuinely,
No, I
genuinely, I
think that's
want,
a perfect answer.
yeah, I want people to be able to like relate or feel seen. Yeah.
That makes my heart. It's so warm. My cold heart. Um,
You're cool.
my cold heart. Um, so you said people singing along. I'm sorry, this is a third question that I've come up with in my brain.
It's okay.
Um, is touring and or shows something that you hope to do post COVID world in a safe environment, obviously?
Oh yes. I honestly like I've always wanted to perform my songs, but I think it's been kind of like um a matter of like how because
Hmm.
I mean, not even counting COVID, it's just kind of like I don't have a lot of equipment and I would literally be running almost everything off of my laptop. So it's kind of like I've been trying to delve into like different ways that I could figure out how to perform these songs. And
Yeah.
I've honestly been learning acoustic guitar, which is like,
Ooh.
yeah, it's very different from like the synth pop sound, but like I feel like if I can play my songs well on guitar, then I can at least perform and people can at least know the songs
Hmm.
and then maybe they'll be influenced to like look at my stuff elsewhere. But I definitely do want to perform them in their entirety and they're like, you know, in their intended form at some point. It is
Yeah.
kind of just like I need synthesizers.
We'll put a
um
posting all over New York once COVID is done and that's an option. And we'll just be like, looking for synthesizers. I'll take the next train. I'll hand out flyers. a have you seen poster, but like anti, like looking for. We'll do the rips. We'll do we'll
Yeah.
do it up.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I should probably just like look and see if anyone's like interested in like forming a little band. Maybe that would be I don't
Listen,
know. I'm open to a lot of stuff, so any way that I could actually perform would be cool.
I love that, and I will be at the first show. I don't care where it is. I will
Oh my God.
fly, run, train. I'll be there
It's
because
gonna be in someone's like closet in
it could be in my
Brooklyn.
closet. You don't see my closet, but it's a shoebox, and that's okay.
As long as like at least one person's there and it may be you.
Okay.
Um that as long as I'm doing that, yeah. Gosh, just thinking about my first performance, that makes me nervous, but like that's exciting though.
That it's gonna be an incredible feat, and I love that for you.
Thank you.
So last and finally, my last question. What are we looking for in the future from Veya? Are we looking, for more music? Like what? Like let's hear what the game plan is. Like I'm ready.
Okay.
Like let's do this. Like tell these people what they want.
Okay, the game plan is I have I have like a couple songs in the works that I was considering maybe compiling into a little EP. Um, but yeah, it's like very like I'm not trying to like, you know, say with finality, but
Of
it's
course,
just
yeah.
because like I feel like I'm getting like enough material that like I could make a little EP. And then I also have a song that I'm working on for my friend's short film. Um, so that's been like pretty cool to be
Mm-hmm.
working on a song specifically for like a short film. So that I don't know when the short film's coming out. I mean, sometime this year, obviously, but yeah, so I don't have any specific dates for like new music. I know that's very disappointing, but
No, that's okay though. Like she comes when she decides because it's that, that's the energy. Like you're gonna be happy when you release your stuff, and that's what matters.
yeah, so yeah, definitely like within the next few months, I would say. Um, yeah, because well, again, like putting dates on things, just because like I'm in the process of doing this song for the short film, so it's like, and then I'm also working on like another project for that is not music related. That's like a video editing thing. So it's like,
Ooh.
yeah, so I've got like multiple things on the table. I feel like I'm like doing that, like, what is that plate spinning thing? Like, I'm trying to balance all of them. And I'm not doing the best job because honestly, I'm just like trying to work on things, but also my mind is like overwhelmed because I'm like, oh, I have all these other things that I've signed up to do too. So yeah. That was a very long way of saying that yes, there will be new music soon.
I respect the collective. I respect the detailed answer, and I think that's even better because you are a person, and like this is like
Yeah.
multiple hats she wears, and
Yes.
she rocks each one of them.
Thank you.
So if you want to plug all your stuff, I don't know how you
Yeah,
want to
of
do that.
course.
Just rattle off the names where you at.
Yeah. Okay, so my Instagram is veya.music. My Spotify is Veya. I also have a Twitter that like nobody knows about because I don't really tweet that much from it often. I've been trying to get more into it. I should
Hmm.
be better at that. But that is just Veya Music, no dot.
No dot.
Um, let's see. Is there anything else I have? I think those are like the main ones. Like Instagram,
Instagram.
Veya.music. That's the
Veya.music.
full
We got
name.
that.
Yeah.
Mm. Veya on Spotify. Boom. Veya
Yeah.
Music. No dot on Twitter.
Yeah.
Consider all three of those plugged, and
Great. I love it when they're plugged. I love when things are plugged.
Thank you so much for joining this inaugural episode, this very first episode. You have been so amazing, and I'm so grateful for you, and I'm so excited to see what you do, not only as a friend but as a fan. And I'm so pleased, and hopefully this was an all access pass to your new favorite artist, Miss Veya.
Thank you for having me.